Hey guys, sorry for the late start, but here we are.
You know who to blame.
Nosferatu! This is going to be a different live. We're going to make some questions here to our beloved GM Danielle about the game that's going to be live on Gamefound tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow and counting, to be more precise, 8 hours and 36 minutes.
Oh, the nerves. So, Daniel, how
Yeah.
what can you tell us about Asilo?
Well, for starters, Asilo is a clinical horror TTRPG. It's a role-playing game where the players take on the role of patients that live in an insane asylum or a psychiatric ward in an hospital, and they uh, need to face their fears and the horrors that live within the asylum in order to survive. It's a game about decay, about character degeneration. We're not talking about heroes nor villains. We are talking about regular people that have real struggles when it comes to manias and phobias and all sorts of distorted behaviors that harm them truly. And it just gets worse and worse.
And why did you decided to make Asylum?
Well, uh, what the catalyst for Asilo was a Call of Cthulhu 7 edition session. Uh, Here in Rockall Initiative, we had the roleplay of the month, the game of the month, and in 1 month I suggested Call of Cthulhu, and I was the one prompt to be the keeper for that session. And as I was reading the rules and get accustomed to the lore and the feel of the game, I found a great interest coming from the sanity system and stress and how everything worked in that game. And it also had an element that I sort of borrowed, which was the manias and the phobias aspect. But even though it was very interesting in theory how the sanity system worked. When it came time for the game session and things started to happening and I was started asking for roles, it was kind of messy because you were like, okay, now roll uh, and let's see if you roll above or below your sanity points. Okay, now roll again to see if you understood the supernatural threat that you just saw. Let's see if you can rationalize it. Okay, now roll again to see how much sanity you lose in this process. Okay, now we can role play. And I left that game session thinking there has to be another way to make the stress and the sanity aspect of a game more run a little more smoothly and add make sure that it adds to the tension and you don't break the game to figure out how the dice work and what the values mean. That was the catalyst to create a game focused on a sanity system, on a sanity mechanic.
And if other of our viewers have noticed, Asilo has been changing over the years.
Oh yes.
With with all of the sessions we have been having here in Roll Iniciativa. Um, why so many changes? And why did you stop here?
Okay, the the main reason the main reason why you make changes to a game it's when you are confronted with the aspects where is lacking, where it's not working as intended. Uh, because in the theory realm, in your head, in your mind, the game works until you put it on the table and people start pulling and pushing and dissecting the game in front of you and pointing out mistakes and the incongruencies, and you're like, okay, I need to get back to the drawing board and figure out how to make it work. So for those who are just coming to know Asilo, the very first iteration of the game was a one-page RPG. It was a one-page RPG. The dice used was the D4, and you could choose what kind of character you would like to play. You could be a doctor, you could be a medic, an orderly, a nurse, or a patient. And each character would have a sanity pool. Then later on came a version of the game where we were getting closer to what we have today. We would have a sanity clock, but it was a little bit more streamlined. It had only 6 sectors, and basically every time you came across a traumatic event, you would roll the dice, and the value will determine. And we are talking about these sixes now. Um, the number of the die will determine what section of your brain will be affected. And even though it led to great moments and roleplay sessions and great scenarios, it came to me that it wasn't a good depiction of insanity and pathologies because, uh, for instance, if you damage the part of the brain that is responsible for your locomotion, your balance, and whatnot, just because you are limping, just because your walk is broken, it doesn't mean you are insane. And the same goes for other parts of the brain and whatnot. And I just needed to scratch that element, and we ended up with the system that we have today. And somewhere in between, there was an iteration where you would have cards, trigger cards that will serve as hints for um, the clues that the players find along the game, and it will be some sort of checkpoint to see how close you are to finding the truth. But um, it kind of armed the game in the sense that it will break the immersion, it will break the experience, and some people will just look at it and be like, okay, I just need to find 3 more cards for this game to be over, and we don't want any of that. So with lots of cuts, lot of revisions. We have the iteration that we have today, where we have the manias, the phobias, we have the behaviors that uh, are are gradually updated in the character sheet to determine how close the character is to insanity. Just to give a quick note that what led to this decision to use behaviors and not real diseases or pathologies, it was to make sure that everyone that was role-playing a patient uh, will not basically end up role playing it in a wrong way, because everyone has a sort of an idea of how a schizophrenic person, for example, works or behaves, and most times than not, they will eventually role play it wrong in a sort of pejorative way, and that's not what we want here. So to keep everything simple, and in order to make sure that Asilo is not as big as the DSM, which for those who don't know, it's the book where all the diseases and conditions are listed. I read the book, I read the DSM, and took out the behaviors and symptoms that are common to vast majority of conditions, and that's what we have in the game. We don't have characters that are schizophrenic or bipolar or whatnot. We have characters that have those behaviors, that have those symptoms.
It is simple in that way. Yes, I remember in the beginning when I played, it didn't have the behaviors. It had
No.
the symptoms, and sometimes I was like, oh, how do I play this? Um, so yeah, I think the behaviors it really is better. Um, so, another question I have here.
Mhm.
Um, what can you define as being the type of horror that Asilo is?
Um, at first, um, my intention and my focus was on the psychological horror element of the game until Elder, aka a máquina do RPG, pointed out that okay, this is more than psychological horror. This is its own thing. This is clinical horror. And he insisted so much on the term that I embraced it, and that's what Asilo is. Even though that it still packs a punch when it comes to psychological horror, the essence of it it's clinical. It's in the sense that you are a patient, you are in an hospital, you are in a place of healing, of cure. You are ill, you are the disease, and Asilo is the cure. Asilo is there to treat you even if it harms you in the process, even if it puts an end to your life.
Right.
More often than not, the people at the Asilo will treat the patients as nothing more than cannon fodder or meat for some experiences or whatever it is they are thinking about. And that's what clinical horror is. We're talking about the procedures. We're talking about the methods. We are talking about the philosophy of um, the ends justify the means, and it's all used to help you.
Okay. Um, let me.
Yes.
So, um, I have a question. Why why the start of the games with the
Mhm.
interview?
The interview is the moment, or the first moment where players meet their characters. We all had that feeling of okay, I'm gonna play a game. I'm gonna play Dungeons and Dragons or Vampire. I created my character. This is how he or she acts and behaves and sees the world and whatnot. And you start role playing, and then it just goes AWOL. It just goes, okay, no, no, scratch that. This is how I'm going to role play this character. And the interview is to make sure that you take that realization before the game starts. So you create your character, you set your moral compass, you set your pointers as to how the character behaves and thinks, and then you are put through an interview just to see, just to calibrate the gaps between you and your character.
Because I've noticed the the differentiating between, for example, when you introduce your character in D&D compared to Asilo, uh, you're thrown into the deep end like that.
Yeah, that's the whole point, and the interview reflects the an element of the patient, because the scenario of the interview changes according the mania or the phobia of the patient. And from the get-go, you are confronted with the thing that you despise the most about yourself, or you treasure the most about yourself. And through that conflict, so to speak, and the questions that are asked, um, you get a better grasp of your character and sort of what awaits you.
Um, Going out of with that, I've noticed with all the times I've played, Asilo is mainly a one-shot game, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Um, would it be possible to make a campaign out of it?
I'm gonna
So more than just one session?
I'm gonna put things this way. In the first iterations of Asilo, there was a part of the book uh, designed to create campaigns of 2, 3, 4 sessions. But but attending how sessions usually end, there is no room for a second session. And to be honest, the only element, so to speak, of having some form of campaign from all the sessions that I ran were the ones where you were present and you had the same character with the same role, working in different institutions under the same people for some awkward reason. That was the only aspect of it. So I came to the realization of, okay, this is a part of the book that is not being used, or it is used rarely. People are going to use this to create to experience very intense survival horror sessions. So I'm gonna lean towards this. I'm gonna create a game that is focused on one shots, single sessions that are intense from beginning to end, and that's it.
So that means that your character might survive or not,
Yeah,
but usually not.
it really
um,
does. The TPK is common in Asilo.
they don't survive or they survive.
Uh, Typically, they don't survive. Typically, we're
Okay,
talking about TPKs.
yeah. So yeah, make a character to die. T- to find out how he dies, how they die.
Yeah, and to learn a thing or two about yourself and your subconscious.
Yeah, it was interesting to play that character that unknowingly, and I made a campaign out of multiple one shots. Um, and I'm pretty sure if I didn't ask you to kill her, she would still be alive
Somewhere.
after her fifth asylum. Um, she was an incredible character.
She was.
Um, and we also have this last game.
Hmm.
Hiken's character also survived and
Yeah,
became
and
a part of Xylo.
yeah, he was promoted to security officer.
Yeah. So another player who made a one shot out of
A possible campaign out of
yeah, a
a
possible
one
campaign
shot.
out of a one shot. Yeah. We have a question here from Mitchell. So far, what has been the most memorable moment for you in a session of Asilo?
Well, memorable moments. Okay, I'm gonna put the things this way. Um, in one of the last sessions in Lisboa, the first one with the scenario Protocol 2213, which is the scenario that we've been playing here in Role Initiativa. Um, the fact that we were playing around a physical table, interacting directly with each other, and the people around the table had really great chemistry among each other. The revelation at the end, and the way, even though everything was kind of random, because people are creating characters on the fly, and the characters and the players, without knowing, were creating characters that would fit the scenario perfectly. Elder's character, for example, the pedophobia. He was afraid of children, and we talking about the scenario with pregnant woman and forced births and whatnot. And from the first scene, Elder's character was afraid of Dr. Eva because she was pregnant, and he wanted her to get away as soon as possible and keep everyone away from her, from harming her, because if they were harming her, he would watch it. He would be there to assist, and he didn't want anything from it until we come to the very end of the session. So, as the characters are being tortured by the staff, and Dr. Eva is watching them suffering, and the births are taking place, elder character reaches the end. The sanity clock is filled, and um, it comes time for the final behavior. And the final behavior, I don't recall the name precisely, but it was akin to sexual desires. And there came that moment of realization. Elder's character had pedophobia because he was deeply afraid of the realization that deep down within him, that's the kind of people that pleasure him, that excite him, that trigger him. And in that realization, the character basically broke into smithereens and collapsed. That build up, that tension, and the role play in that session was amazing, chaotic and unethical. Uh, but I'm gonna make sure that that revelation, the way everything led to that moment, that was epic.
And going out of that, sometimes you have games that just because they're horror, they can be played by many ages. Is Asilo kid friendly?
I mean, a short answer, no. A long answer, yes, if you make changes. For example, Rui Anselmo had an asilo session with his daughters that have, I believe, 12-ish years old. We had a talk because as soon as I started reading the book, I'm not sure if I want to play a game with my kids that talks about cannibalism and that sort of things. Okay, let's cut the fat, cut the grievous part of the game, and make it some form of adventure of Alice in Wonderland, and trim the edges, make some changes here and there to the core of the original story, and maybe you can salvage something. That's what he did. Uh, Basically, the same aspect happens between Asilo and any other game. You can make it so that you can play any form of genre, but you need to make changes. You can, I believe, you can make Vampire the Masquerade a sitcom, but you need to make changes. I believe you can make Call of Cthulhu being the equivalent to American Pie, but you need to make changes. Um,
A lot
you
of
can
changes.
you can make Dungeons and Dragons play more like Darkest Dungeon, but you need to make changes. When it comes to changing the Asilo in order to fit a certain audience, you need to make changes. And focusing on that aspect, Asilo states very firmly that before the game begins, it is advised to have a session zero, so you can set up the game's themes and how everything runs with an heads up to make sure that you get everything set and ready and um, ready to roll, and everyone is on the same page, and there is a small margin of error anyone being uncomfortable at the table. So, long answer, yes, you can adapt a Zero for a kid-friendly story, but you need to make changes. But make sure that you still use the liability waiver. It's important.
Yes. Uh, I was gonna I was gonna talk about that because with the kids session, I think it almost impossible to use the liability waiver because you change so much of the game that the liability waiver becomes almost null and void.
I understand
Uh,
what you're saying, but the thing is, even though you uh, streamline the game so much that the horror element is just a spice more than a core aspect, for kids and how their imagination works, it's still um, fuel for the fire. So the liability waiver still has some weight on it. What can happen is kids want to understand what is written in the liability waiver, but you can put some emphasis on it on the aspect of, okay, you need to write this. This is important. By signing this, you agree that you are willing to participate and you are willing to be part and experience some things that can be harmful or um, can be daunting and scary, and they will sign it. And if you ask them what they don't want to see in the session, they probably say they can take anything until they can't. Um, and that's the and once again, with this in mind, liability waiver. Okay, if for some reason you're not feeling comfortable, just tear it apart, just destroy it, and everything's fine. Okay, and you still have the that element, that trigger of, okay, I don't like this. No,
so for the people who don't know and are listening to us talk about liability waiver
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and know about the what it means, né? It's a contract. But in the aspect of Asilo, né? And a TTRPG game, what do you mean with the liability waiver?
The liability waiver started as a joke, but it was there from the very first day when I was writing the game, and since we're talking about hospitals and whatnot, when you are submitted to a procedure, you need to sign a liability waiver stating that you agree with the procedure, you agree that you will be cut open or something is going to be done to you, and you exempt the crew from any responsibilities. And that was the catalyst for the liability waiver to keep everything on theme. What changed was, for starters, the liability waiver was a prop that only had shock value. Um, it will be the first thing you see at the table. Have the character sheet, you'd have the liability waiver everything face down, and with everyone present, you would first read the liability waiver, and that will be the first contact. It will be the the make or break moment of, are you willing to sign this in order to play a game? If not, that's okay. That's okay. You can just watch. Or maybe this is just not a game for you. Or maybe you believe you have what it takes. Then you will sign it, and we will find out. And in the last few years of playtesting and writing the game, uh, there came the idea for add some drama to it, some drama to the liability waiver, give it some some purpose, and it is led to the mechanic of destroyed liability waiver, and you can do this in two situations. If the game or the if you are witness something that is breaking your limits, you can destroy the liability waiver. Through that action, you destroy your character, and depending on the context, Asilo may or may not punish your character greatly with a lot of suffering. Or you can destroy your liability waiver and sacrifice your character to save another person. And maybe you will be sort of rewarded. You still lose your character, but Azil will take that altruism into consideration. And you have that beautiful aspect that I will not spoil here. I want people. I want this to happen naturally in a game session, which it never has. Which is when uh, uh, all characters are sacrificed to save one another, and there is one remaining. There is something beautiful that happens when those stars align.
So,
And sorry to
yeah,
interrupt
sure,
you
sure.
for in these last few sessions that we had here in Roll Initiative, the reliability waiver was calibrated once again, and now we have the patient sheet and the liability waiver on the same sheet of paper. We have the patient sheet on the front and liability waiver on the back, or the other way around, depending on how you see it. And now the caretaker, the game master, has his own liability waiver um, that he will destroy. Players can choose to destroy, but the game master will. And if everything goes well, the game master, the caretaker, will destroy the liability waiver when the session ends, when the scenario ends. And it is supposed to be a very impactful moment where the game master, where the caretaker stands and says a few impactful words as he destroys the liability waiver that has all the participants' names, and he releases them from Asilo for they play their part.
Yeah, we watched that in the last one.
Yeah.
That's true. Um, because yeah, I noticed because if other people played this game, you noticed there isn't nothing talking about safety tools, because the safety tools is in the liability waiver, from what I've gathered.
Um, we changed that aspect with Asilo. We got some feedback from from a reviewer, Abraham El Jaguar Zetina, um, which has been sharing and spreading the word about Asilo, and we had a talk about the how awkward, so to speak, it is to use the term safety tools in a role-playing game, because you are safe. You are around the table. With people that you are telling a story. You are experiencing a game world through a character's eyes, um, and you as a person, you are safe. The person that is going to deal with everything is your fictional character that is dealing with fictional problems. You are not going to be hit by arrows or by swords or spells or facing monsters and running from your life. Your character will. So we came to a compromise. We are not talking about safety tools. We are talking about comfort tools. We are talking about actions that we can take to make the game session more comfortable, so everyone can experience, even though it's horror, even though we're talking about horror, we can still tell an horror story, and everyone is on board with it. So with this, liability waiver is of course the first contact, and it states plainly what you are dealing with and what you are about to experience. And then the comfort tools calibrate everything to make sure that we are on the same page. I'm talking about comfort tools, I'm referring to stating the themes you don't want to be talked about the session. I'm talking about stating a gesture or a word that would trigger and sign that I'm not comfortable. And that's it. We have the liability waiver stating plainly what's going to happen and comfort tools to calibrate everything. That's it.
Okay. Um, that is something new from when I played. Not as the most recent one, but the other ones. Um, I think it is um, a good evolution because you expect to when you play you expect to be to trust the everyone at the table, but
Mm-hmm.
we know the horror stories, and we know sometimes things happen, and having the players have a way out of the session and change some things about the session, because during play some things happen. We can use lines and veils to decide the triggers, the the topics we don't want to touch upon. But sometimes during the session you almost touch on that topic, and having in this case the comfort tools to remind the players, the other players, the caretaker, oh, you're almost on the no zone, the triggers, and then okay, changing the the narrative to get away from that. Um, it is really. I'm glad Asilo has that implemented. Um, we have another question here in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most difficult moment in creating Asilo?
There were two.
Also from Mitchell.
Hashtag manecas. So there were two big difficult moments when it comes to bring Asilo to life. Uh, the first one was to make sure that the game was simple, that the mechanics would add to the tension, to the build up, to the reveal, and they wouldn't break the game, so you'll be stuck uh, trying to figure out what the dice mean. Um, and the other aspect was to make sure that I had the right balance between a role-playing game, as as in a book that has rules and explains how to run the game, and the DSM. So what I mean by balance is I wanted the game to give you the right amount of information when it comes to the clinical order aspect and the behaviors and the symptoms without needing the game to be uh, hundreds of pages long and very clinical and scientific when it comes to the medical approach. Those were the things. To keep it short, um, make sure that the game is simple and the mechanics improve upon the storytelling aspect of the game, and make sure that there is the right amount of information without the book being too long.
Okay. That's also very a difficult thing
Oh, yes, it is.
to balance. And going with difficult things to balance, um, Azilo's gonna have, from what you've said in sessions, is going to have some written scenarios.
Yeah.
Will it also have? Will it teach you how to make scenarios from scratch?
Yeah, yes. The caretaker's manual, which is the part of the book that um, I it is reserved for the caretaker, as all the information about pacing, about what you should have into consideration when it comes to creating sessions. It has a series of tables where you can just randomly roll dice and have everything determined about the scenario, about who the antagonist is, the tools that the antagonist uses, why everything is happening. You have the built-in scenarios, and more recently you have an example of play. Uh, Along the book you have uh, small paragraphs that explain in actual play terms that chapter, creating a character, choosing the behaviors and whatnot. And in the book now you have an extensive example of play with three characters, three friends that gather around to play a session of Asilo. So
Okay.
both players and caretakers will have all the information they need to run their sessions. And of course, there is always the tip of don't be afraid to uh, drive or pick up inspiration on your favorite games, your musics, your favorite books and movies and TV shows.
So this also means that Asilo it's beginner friendly, right?
Yes, yes, in the sense that it gives you all the tools.
And the because you mentioned it, um, other than Call of Cthulhu, what other games and movies did you inspired you, or music also
Mm.
inspired you to either to make Zulu or the scenarios that you created already?
So, um, the biggest inspiration is Silent Hill. The whole franchise. I'm not talking about the video games. When it comes to Silent Hill, I deem myself proficient, a virtuoso in the lore and how everything works. Uh, because I just devoured everything when it comes to Silent Hill. It's just a beautiful franchise that tells beautiful stories, horrific but beautiful nonetheless, with amazing soundtracks, and the comic books are also awesome. Um, and when I talk about Silent Hill as a form of inspiration, um, I use essentially the games where clearly the visions, the sights, the monsters that you see in the town are a reflection of your own insecurities, your own subconscious, meaning that the town is forcing you to face your greatest fears. And the way I see the town of Silent Hill as an old friend, a great friend, a friend that invites you to help you solve your problems, but won't tell you how. It will just confront you with them and do so until you accept, until you learn how to deal with them on your own terms, on your own ways. And to this day, I recently put this to the test. The best soundtrack I can use to write and create stuff, it is the Silent Hill soundtrack. I can still write listening to any form of music and game and movie soundtrack, but when it comes to Silent Hill, when I hear Kiriyama music, there's something in here that switches to 11 and everything comes out smoothly. Um, And I could point out a lot more things. The video game Darkest Dungeon, the way the stress works. Your characters have an HP bar and have a stress bar, and it is naive to take into consideration that the HP bar is more important than the stress, uh, because most of the time even either by being attacked by monsters or just by exploring the halls, you will build stress, and a stressful character does not work properly in combat, and the more stressed you are, then you will reach a breaking point, and more times than not, uh, contract a compulsion, and your character will be even more impaired. Then you build more stress, and you can have an heart attack, and there goes your character in a game that I'm forgetting the term that has permadeath. So we have that seriousness, and that slogan of Darkest Dungeon is a game where you are always trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And in the sense, Asilo leans a little bit towards that. And of course, there are a lot more sources of inspiration, either directly or indirectly, because I really don't know fully my subconscious, and sometimes I wonder how the hell did I come up with certain ideas for certain scenarios. For example, the the other scenario that is not Protocol 2213, it is a scenario based uh, on how lobotomies are performed and why they are so. And the Protocol 2213, it was just a random idea that that came to my mind of since there's a lot of information that is shared between the mother and child in the womb. What would happen if we would put the mother through a series of traumatic events, um, cast her aside for treatment, and repeat the process ad nauseum or ad infinitum? Will the child be born with more resilience when it comes to mental health or not? And that's the trigger point. It is the what if scenario, the what if question that drives that scenario forward. And once again, don't ask me how the idea came by. Don't ask me how my mind works. I don't know.
Asil brings all the strange ideas
To the
to
art,
light.
yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Um. why I know Asilo, and if our people watching us know, Asilo has been in the works for several years.
Yes, it
Why
has.
finally? I have to say finally because
Bec-
it's a game I
because
like very much. So why finally publish it?
because finally they came the means of production, so to speak. Um, because it never came to mind. I have a background on writing. I wrote books before creating games, and I had my experiences with publishers which weren't that great in my honest opinion. Um, and I didn't want to send the game away and just knock on doors and hey, look, I have this game. I don't know if you will be willing to publish this and whatnot. I wanted something um, more indie, more private, so to speak. Um, and we have a lot of platforms at our disposal. We have drive-through. You have in our drive-through as a print-on-demand system, just like Amazon, which is where my books are at the moment. Um, but even still, I felt that something was lacking. Yeah, I could make the game available in those platforms, but it still didn't seem right. It seemed more like uh, a bare minimum scenario of okay, it's there. It's not the optimal. It's not what the game deserves, but okay, now it's there, and can reach out and get it. And new board games came along. We published successfully Demon Ninja last year. We had our method, which works. We have our philosophy. We have now a series of contacts that produce books of high quality. And the stars aligned. We have 3 games in production. We have Demon Ninja. We have Asilo now that hopefully all will go well. And hopefully, in the following year, we will have Silent Lake, Elder's Game, which has also been in the works for some time now.
That's true. I also know that. I also know that game. So, yeah, I can attest to that. Um, and since because you mentioned it, I opened the door for that. So, what is newborn?
Newborn Games is a manager of crowdfunding campaigns. It's not a publisher in the most traditional sense. It's not Newborn Games that publishes the book. Newborn Games makes sure that all the tools are or all the right irons are in the right place for the game to be published. We manage the crowdfunding. We reach out to to the printers and reviewers and make all the engagement necessary in social media in order to gather the target audience and make the target audience fund the game. And the game is then published according with how successfully the campaign was. In the case of the Ninja, we had an hardcover with a lot of minute details when it comes to varnish in certain sections of the cover. It is a very beautiful book, and everything was possible because the campaign went well. With Azil, we have the same approach. If the game is funded by the bare minimum, we will have a soft cover book. It will not be optimal, so to speak, but the book will be printed, and everyone will have access to a physical copy of Azil, which, in its turn, it's a victory. It's a victory in itself. But then the stretch goals come along, and the book can get even better. It can have more heart. It can have more scenarios. It can have Patient Zero, the game book, attached to to the book. It can have an art cover with all the details that Demon Ninja had, and it can also have a Portuguese edition, and people can choose if people want the book in English or in Portuguese. But that's uh, that's for the future to tell us how the campaign will go. When it comes to newborn games, we did everything that was at our disposal. Um, we contacted reviewers. We sent emails to our mailing list to all the people that were interested in the Ninja to see if they were interested in Asilo as well. And our fingers are crossed. We did what we could. Now let's see we are going to get from this.
So you hear it here, people. Let's make it possible to have asilo in Portuguese, okay? We have to make it successful enough to have a Portuguese version.
And when that happens, we can all say that Asilo is 100% Portuguese game written by a Portuguese author with art from Portuguese artists printed in Portugal and written in Portuguese. That
Yes.
will be that will be a statement.
Yes. Please, people. Let's make this happen. um. Okay. Now, going back to Asilo. Will there be more content for Asilo after this campaign?
Yes, I cannot say how frequently I will be able to put more scenarios out, but they will come. And I can say that from our most recent session, I already have an idea for a scenario where all the patients are children, and the idea is here. It's growing, it's boiling, something is cooking, and it will come out eventually. So uh, be on the lookout for scenarios in the future.
And when, if and when they came,
Mhm.
where can we find it?
Drive-through. It will be available on Drive-through RPG. That is where we are uh, fighting to be the ideal platform to release this sort of content. It may change, but right now the idea is using Drive-through.
Under Newborn Games as well?
Um, it will probably be inside games. It will be my trademark, so to speak, because Newborn Games manages everything inside games. It is the author, so to speak, of the game, so it has that responsibility to have all the content under its wing.
Okay. I was gonna ask what is inside games, but you already answered the question.
Hey, great minds think alike. What can I
Yeah.
say?
So, any more questions from the chat? We're here to answer. Um, do you have a question you would like to have been asked about a
Hmm.
Zulu that never people never asked you that you would like to answer?
That is a very good question. Is there a question that was never asked that I would enjoy being giving an answer? Hmm. I'm gonna put things this way. Recently, that I got a very good question So I'm just breaking the rules a little bit, bending the rules a little bit. And was referring to the limits of horror in Asilo.
Hmm.
Um, I am no one to say how anyone should tell horror stories. I have my own way for storytelling, for guiding a story, creating a story, having the build-up. Uh, Many people have their own methodologies, their own strategies, their own preferences. But what I want to make clear, it's just because we have a clinical horror game where players take on the role of vulnerable people, and there is some form of ritual aspect to everything when it comes to the signing the liability waiver and whatnot, and the patients will be put to a series of tests that are inhuman in nature. What I want to make clear is just because the game allows this to happen, this should not be taken as an opportunity for you to harm people. If you are willing to tell an horror story in order to inflict pain directly to the players, if you are creating a story to actually harm someone, please don't pick up this game.
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of games aren't for those kind of people.
No.
Uh,
And to be
spe-
fair, no game should be.
true, true. That's true. And especially from what you said, this should be played by people who trust each other,
Mhm.
or you won't have a good session, because you won't. Not that make the right choices per se. Not how can I explain this? It's not that you won't make the right choices. Um, you won't make the right choices for your character in the moment because you can't trust the other players. If you don't
Okay.
trust the other players, that's um, you make the safe choice. I think that's the better term. Not the right
Instead,
choice, but the
instead,
safe choice.
instead of role playing, you are metagaming.
Almost, yeah.
Instead of thinking about of how your character would react, you're thinking how would I react in this situation, knowing what I know, which isn't what my character knows.
Y- yes, and also I think it's like how can I play to because after a couple of minutes you and reading the rules, you know how the game evolves, how your character evolves. So you almost start playing so that your character doesn't evolve.
Oh,
You
okay.
you make the choices so your character doesn't gain new behaviors. Um,
Basically, don't play the game.
almost
You're
like I said, you don't make the right choices, you make the safe choices. So the character, we're going, okay, okay, I'll go, but yeah, I'm going in the back. You go first. Okay, you're dying. I'm gonna run away. things like that. That don't help the game. It just hinders, but it's
Yeah, see,
normal
and
if you don't
sorry for
trust it.
interrupting you. That
Mm,
was a point that was made in one of the previous iterations of Asilo. Um, since there wasn't really a way to recover from stress, it was pointed out that basically, if I don't, the only way for me to survive is not to play the game. If I just stay in the first room and I don't deal with anything, my character will survive. And the game changed, and you can also you now can recover from stress, which will hinder your character in the long term. You just and what is the word? You just delaying the inevitable.
yeah.
But to that point, that was made, my reaction would be, then why are you playing? We are playing in a clinical horror. We are witnessing the generation of a character. Uh, if you want your character to survive by being stuck in the first room in the first area, why are we here? If you're playing a video game, Dead Space or Silent Hill or Resident Evil, if you're just stuck in the first area, why did you bought the game? Why did you got the game? Why are you playing the game?
That's 100% the truth. For example, the only time I've played, I think Resident Evil or Silent Hill, I don't remember, is the one when you start in the. I think it's the second one. When you start in a road and then you find a small house. Uh, I remember when you enter that you have a radio and a lantern, and you go into a hallway, and the radio it's where you listen for the creepy crawlies, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I was young, okay, it was many years ago. I turned in the hallway, everything was dark, just the lantern. Turn to the right. Nope, not going there. Turn to the left. Nope. Turn off the game. Never played it. Never played it. And I think it was only a couple of years ago. Now I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it. It was the demo, not the game. I had the demo. And finally, after 10 plus years, I finally played that game. Um, but yeah, so if you're not if you don't want to experience that, yeah, why play it? um we have another question here from chat. Mariano asks, how do you think Asilo's game mechanics promotes a clinical horror role-playing experience?
That is a very good question. So the way everything works, based on the stress system, you gain stress. The stress leads to behaviors that are related to uh, various a whole series of conditions um, and mental issues. And the more you build up stress, more behaviors you acquire, and you experience something that I call a qualitative aspect to madness. We're not talking about a game where you have a sanity pool that goes from 0 to 50 or whatnot. You have a sanity pool that tells you how your character is going. You will come at a point in your game session where you will be looking at your character sheet and be like, so my character has tremors, uh, has mood swings, is lethargic, and as all sorts of disregard for the self. The character is not okay. The character is not okay. Okay, I will use pleasure or pain, or I'm gonna take some drugs to relieve my stress. Okay, and I will keep doing it until I reset my stress pool. Then you have a new mania. Maybe you took so many drugs that your craving um, does not soothe you anymore. Maybe you experience pain so intensely that you now have flagellomania and you only think about pain, both inflicting and receiving it. And even though you receive it, and since it's now part of your own being, it doesn't soothe you. So you have this dichotomy. You have this question of uh, how far am I willing to let my character go just to delay for the character to survive just a bit longer, and how heavy will be the toll that the character will have to pay to subside a little longer.
Okay, okay. We have more questions, and we have two that almost uh, are one after the other. You can. So Mitchell here asks, what advice would you give to a first-time caretaker?
The first advice I would give when it comes to storytelling, tell a story uh, from the standpoint or the point of view you are familiar with. Don't worry about creating something out of the box and unique. Focus on what you already have with yourself. Don't be afraid to adapt your favorite movie or video game or book. Just give it some twists and implement it. Then you can build up and by seeing how the game works and flows, then create your own scenarios and build your own unique experiences. And I can assure you, even if you adapt something, it will always be a unique experience. And when it comes to the mood of the game and running the game, trust your players and be aware of their reactions. Uh, do not be kind enough to let some situations slide when it comes to rolling dice, but don't overwhelm them with a lot of dice rolls in the short amount of time, unless that's the the setup for the scenario you are running. So keeping it simple, uh, focus on the simple aspects of storytelling. Focus on what you know, and you are good at. When it comes to engaging with players, trust them, and make sure that they are 100% on the same page and on board for the horrors they are about to face.
Uh, Going out of that,
Mm.
Mariano also questions: does Asilo gives tools or suggestions to go beyond the asylum's limited space?
So that's a very interesting topic, uh, and that sort of depends on the scenario you are using. Escaping the asylum, the physical space, can always be achieved one way or another, and it's up to for the caretaker and the story you are trying to tell to determine how much so it is. For example, I have scenarios where it's stated from early on that the doors are barricaded. There is no way out. Or if you try to escape, someone will pursue you. And I have scenarios where you can escape. but maybe the things you find on the outside are even worse than the things that they are on the inside. I had a session once where the sole objective of the players was to run away. Everyone wanted to escape the asylum, and they did. They escaped, and they found themselves on a wasteland. There was nothing. There were no buildings. There was nothing. The only thing that existed in that in that realm of existence was the asylum. And they walked and they walked and they walked. Imagine going beyond the invisible wall on a video game. Everything is pre-rendered. There's nothing that that was it, and
Oh God.
the player characters ended up killing themselves
Uh,
because they preferred taking their own lives and getting back in the asylum. Or you
damn.
can add a twist that I'm very fond of, even though I don't use it that much. That is, okay, you can run away, you can escape. There's the exit. Go for it. And you open the doors, and there is just a new hallway, a new corridor, a new room. Oh, okay, there's a new exit. I can see it. That's the green light. Exit. And you open the door. It's a new hallway, a new room. As the asylum is infinite, you can't escape.
Oh, that's a twist. That is a very interesting twist. Um, hmm. Okay. Um,
Just make sure that you leave this revelation for last. You don't want to start the game session with, "Yay, you were trapped in here forever." No, that's mood breaking. Save it for last.
yeah.
Let them try to escape, gather the keys, get the safe codes, open all the doors, and find for themselves that they were trapped from the start.
I had a session. I played a session. I think. Yeah, I played that session. Um, where we were trying. The patient. Everyone, technically everyone, was trying to start the apocalypse. If I'm not mistaken, with the occult on the outside.
Hmm.
That's also an interesting take. That outside is worse than inside.
Yeah.
I think we ended up releasing Cthulhu or something other, and a great old one.
Yeah, that's from my perspective and from what I know about creating horror. There are two aspects, or there are two ways to run an Asilo story. You can go all supernatural with cults and demonic entities or Cthulhu-like beings trying to gather in to get into our world, and the patients are used as cannon fodder for a ritual or whatnot. And the other is the clinical aspect, where the patients are they are used um, as guinea pigs for all sorts of experiments that ultimately will lead for the greater good in theory, but the procedure itself it's inhuman, it's unethical, and hopefully the ends will justify the means. Um, and you have two different impacts when using these scenarios, because what happens is when you are telling a story, an horror story with supernatural elements, you use them as safety. Because Cthulhu doesn't exist, or okay, there are no such things as otherworldly beings. Okay, I'm invested in the story. okay, bring me the demons. I know that they don't exist in the real world. But when you go for the clinical approach and you talk about electroshock therapy, you talk about lobotomies, you're talking about the solitary confinement. Those are things that were used and in some parts of the world are still being used to uh, supposedly help people. And that has other impact in mind in people's eyes because they know those things happened or have happened, and it's part of our history, and you can't run away from that.
Yeah, that's true. And talking about scenarios, um, I have to ask this, and
Mm.
please don't tell me favorite child. I can pick one. What is from all the scenarios you've written and GM'd so far? What is your favorite?
I'm gonna say my favorite is Protocol 2214
Okay, why?
because of the build-up, because of the tension is built, and the revelation at the end. And since it's a very streamlined, a very linear scenario with just a little bit of room for interpretation, for exploration, it fits very well for the schematics of an Asilo session. It has everything. You have a start, you have some form of trigger that gives you some foreshadowing. Then the security team comes and gets you by force, if need be, to subject you for an experiment that will be implemented for the greater good. Then the trauma begins, the the torture begins. You have the revelation about the pregnant woman. You witness the births of the two childs, and from that point on, you either have characters reaching the breaking point or almost reaching the breaking point, and you have also a lot of room for surprises there. So I believe I'm gonna go all in and state that Protocol 2214 is my favorite Asilo scenario.
Okay, okay. Um, hmm. Will will that scenario have a sequel, or you are letting that be the future caretakers?
I can't say no to a sequel because, like I said previously, I don't know how my mind works. I'm just a good idea away from creating a new story, a new scenario. As it stands, I'm gonna and facing as how the scenario ends, I'm gonna give it room for interpretation.
Okay, because yeah, because the ending is an open ending, so
Hmm.
you can go not the campaign route, obviously, um, but you can the story in itself can evolve. Uh, we have a doctor that survived at the end, and we don't know what happened to her. So,
Hmm. And she is supposed to be kept alive.
so poor Dr. Eva. Uh, so it's in the hands of new GMs or new caretakers in this case to decide what happens.
Just yes,
Uh,
as it stands, yes, it is
yeah.
an open ending. Um, as it is intended. If people want to um, create a session where they play the scenario and later on with other characters, because as the session the scenario goes, it states that few and other tests will need to be made. So new patients need to be used, and you can go that route. Okay, maybe there is a second session where you can start from the get-go with the torture scene, and Dr. Ev is there to witness everything once again. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
You're already uh, giving ideas
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Give me ideas. Yeah, you do that.
Um, let me see if we have more questions here. I think we've already answered the difference between Asilo and other horror TTRPGs in this way.
I believe so.
Yeah.
As if if you don't mind me saying, I believe Azil it is its own thing when it comes to telling an horror story.
It is. It is. Yeah. If you think about it, it is. I like playing horror games, TTRPG horror games, and Asilo is has its little place in the genre. Um, so yeah, I so want to see what people are the new asylums that they're gonna create with the book. I want to see people playing. I know I've played it as a caretaker. It went awfully bad. I was definitely not prepared. I was still too green of a GM to decide to GM a horror story. Um, Not because, as Danielle said, not because Azul is not beginner friendly. Um, I, as a GM, I was not prepared to GM a horror story. I was not confident enough to GM decently, in my views. Okay, in my views.
It happens to the best of us.
Yes, but hey,
We've
it
all
doesn't mean
we've all
that.
been there.
Yeah, doesn't mean that the next one won't go well. So
And it will.
yeah,
With an updated and calibrated system, it will go smoothly.
yes. Especially now thinking back, the what I was using, the scenario I was giving you guys, uh, I think it works best in certain ways with this version of Asilo because everyone is a patient.
Yes.
The other one, the version we were playing, people could choose orderly, nurse,
It was
doctor.
a mess.
Yeah, not a mess, but
It, wa-
for what
it
I
was difficult for role play purposes. It was difficult to make it to put everyone on the same on the same room for them to start role playing with each other.
yes
You were always skipping scenes. Okay, now the doctor is with the nurse in the operation room. They are engaging. Okay, now the patients are in the cafeteria. Okay, now the orderlies are arrived at the cafeteria. Now the orderly is interacting with the patient. Okay, now Now everyone is a patient and everyone is always together, so to speak.
Yeah, it's simpler. It's simpler. Um, I'm saying, yeah. I'm just saying the other style. It's just because I loved my nurse very very much. Um, she survived 4 asylums, okay, and she would have again. She would have survived the fifth one if I hadn't asked specifically. Danielle, please kill my character, please. Because other way, I'm pretty sure she would have survived that one as well. Um, Killing everyone else, but she would have survived that one. But yeah, this version is very. I think it's easier for caretakers. This version, it's
Yes.
easier. Um, special because everyone is a patient. It's easier to make stories because everyone is on the same page, on the same level.
Hmm.
Let's just say. So for the caretaker, it's easier. Um, so maybe my story, what I was trying to make, maybe now I'll try it, see if this version plays well with the story I was trying to tell. If not, I have to come up with another story, or maybe the scenarios that come with the game. Can you tell us a little bit about those scenarios, please?
Sure. So you have two scenarios. So the Protocol 2214 is one of them, and the other scenario. Um, Let me just check real quick. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna put things this way. The other scenario is called Ops End. Um,
Okay.
and in a way, uh, people can see this scenario in action in one of the earliest. I mean, it can possibly be the first time that Asilo was played here in Roll Initiativa. So there is this little Easter egg in the book with the what could possibly be the very first scenario ever created and played live here in Roll Initiativa.
Oh, you, there you have it, guys. Go through our playlist of
Go down the rabbit hole.
yeah. I think that I'll try to make an Asilo playlist, but I think those games are in Roll Improviso, if I'm not mistaken.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So have fun trying to find
Yeah,
the.
it is both scenarios are very clinical on their approach. Ops and relates about the lobotomy aspect and how they are used to pacify patients, and then you have Protocol 2214, which involves experiences with pregnancy.
Okay. Two very different. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and one thing I have to say, has someone who played in a session and was here watching the second one. Um, it is the playability. You can replay
Oh
the
yes,
scenarios
there is a great role replay value.
because the even if the players are the same or some
Yes.
of them, as we saw with the Hiken, he played both our scenarios, our sessions with the same scenario.
Hmm.
Um, the especially if you make the character at random. Um, Again, the randomness and also the group in itself. You all always have, um, even if it's one or two players that aren't the same, the results are gonna be totally different. So yeah, a lot of replayability even with
Hmm.
the same scenarios, and it's also fun to see what the players decide to make this time.
Yes. Maybe they will trigger for the events to happen faster. Maybe they will delay things a little bit. Maybe they will try to escape security. Maybe they will cooperate from the very beginning. Who knows?
Yeah, try to make a pinky promise with Dr. Copeland.
That was awesome.
Oh, but oh well. So, any last questions, guys? So we can end the stream. Do we have any last questions?
Any last words?
Any last words is like Mitchell said, Menecas forever. But going out of that, you had so Mitchell asked if you had a session. You had a memorable moment.
Hmm.
Um, Other than the memorable moment, a memorable catchphrase, a memorable saying from, I don't know, you, the players, other than Manecas Forever, that you remember?
There was this moment in a session that we had a couple years ago when we were still having our Vampire the Masquerade session, which was me, uh, Rodrigo, Nadia, Nuno, André, e Marco. We had an Asilo session where Nuno was a player, um, and if I'm not mistaken, his secret was that he wasn't stuck, he wasn't locked there in the Zulu with everyone else. Everyone else was locked in the Zulu with him. And the way that session went and ended was that everyone got away as the Zulu was starting to collapse. Uh, and as everyone was running away, Nuno scared stood by the door and said something in the sorts of, "No, no, I won. This is mine. And he just turned back, got inside the building, and it collapsed on top of him.
Okay. The only one who actually won Asilo.
Yeah, yeah, and I remember from that point on, every time we were talking about Azil, we would jump in and say, "I won that game. I won."
It's the small these small things that stay with you forever and make the sessions greater
Yeah,
than they
yeah.
already are. So since we don't have any more questions
Hmm.
from the chat, um, Daniel, I would like to thank you for being
Not
here with
mention it.
us today. Um, wish you all the best and a lot of luck tomorrow. Hopefully, we manage to get our Portuguese version. And we know if we get our Portuguese version, we
No,
get
no one.
everything else.
Yes,
So,
and nobody will shut us up.
yes. So, please, people, Portuguese version, okay? Let's try. Let's reach for the Portuguese version. And we have everything else.
Yes,
Uh,
everything else, all scenarios, patient zero, hardcover, everything.
yes. And yeah, without any do you have anything else to add?
Well, thanks for having me once again here in the Roll Initiative, a home far from home. And for people that are in chat, if you haven't already, or if you are still trying to engage with other people about this game, you have 6 hours and 55 minutes to follow the campaign in order to secure
Oh God.
the exclusive scenarios that are reserved for followers. And you can download for free the game book Patient Zero, so you can start have a feel for the game, and I can assure that if you like Patient Zero, then you will love Asilo. And fingers crossed, hoping for the best. And if all goes well, everyone will have a copy of Asilo at their home and tell their own horror stories inside and inside Asylum, their own stories about character degeneration. So yeah, let's fund the madness.
Yes. Chat. Thank you for being with us today as well, and see you next probably next uh, Thursday. Um, and yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you,
Thank you.
Danielle, again, and see you guys.
See you on the next one.